everyone, in today's YouTube video, I'm going to be talking about how I got into Symbiosis for the BBA program, which is the Bachelor's of Business Administration, and also why I didn't end up taking it. But let's talk about what this program is, how I got in, and probably how you can get into. So let's discuss. Alright, so for those of you that are just about to finish 12th grade or 12th standard and are looking at different undergraduate colleges to move into, this video is definitely for you. So when I was in the 12th standard, I was looking at, okay, what should I do next? I'd already studied ISC Commerce and had taken all business related subjects. So clearly it made sense to go into business for undergrad as well. And I really enjoyed business, to be honest. Which is why also today I have my own business and I really enjoy being an entrepreneur. So at the time as well, I decided this is the direction I want to take. So I was looking at some top business colleges in our country and like, where can we go? So I saw Symbiosis, which offered the BBA program, and it looked super interesting. And it was just such a prestigious college. I knew the campus was great. I'd heard a lot about the faculty and the student experience. And so I thought, must apply, must go there, and must check it out. So what I did is, there is something called the SET exam, which is a qualifying exam for most and for all Symbiosis colleges. So I remember that, I think this was in May, if I'm not wrong, this was in May that we gave this examination. And yes, and this was, I was in the 12th standard in 2014. And so I think I gave this examination in 2015 May. So we gave this SET exam, which is primarily, of course, math, English, reasoning, just getting your basic skills right. And there's really no way in particular that you can study for it per se. You just have to do what you do. So I, interestingly, the same day as the SET exam, I was giving the SAT exam in the morning as well. Even though my parents were not too keen that I go abroad for my undergrad, I still wanted to give it. We had just finished our ISC exams in March and April, and I was like, no, I want to give all the exams possible. So May 2015 was actually quite exam oriented in that sense. And I gave SAT in the morning and SET in the afternoon or the evening. So the SET exam, because I was already studying for SAT, I think, my basic skills of math, English, reasoning had been well brushed up, and I was kind of in that process of studying and everything. So my SET, I think, went well, and I got a pretty good score overall. I wish I could find my SET scorecard, but it was a good score because I managed to get in for the personal interview to both the BBA and also the media college. I'm going to make a separate video about the media selection process and how I applied for that. This one, I'll stick to the BBA. So anyway, my SET exam went well, and I eventually got shortlisted for the interview. And I thought, perfect, this is great. We're going to see what happens. So in the BBA interview, at the time, there was a couple of rounds. One was your personal interview with two people. Usually they're either faculty or like external examiners or people associated with the college who assess you and look through your entire application and ask you pretty detailed questions. Another is the group discussion or sort of group interview section of things. And aside from that, throughout the day, they're anyway kind of analyzing you and like observing you regardless, right? So you just have to be like on your best behavior. So I went to Pune for the interview, and luckily my mom is from there, so we have a house there, so it was quite comfortable and easy. And Symbiosis is in Viman Nagar, the area Viman Nagar, so we went there in the morning. And it started off with, everybody gets divided into different groups. So you are just put into different slots, and then some people are doing the interview, some people are doing the group discussion. So it's like rotational. If I'm not wrong, I have a feeling there was one more component, like a written. Yes, there was. I think there was one more, like a written essay component, something of that nature, which we had given at that time too. But again, this is a decade back, so I'm just trying to share as much as I can from my memory, just because I thought it might be useful. So after that, my personal interview actually went pretty well. I do remember they asked me to sell things. They gave me a bottle and they said, okay, now sell this to us, sell us this pen, and those kind of like slightly more typical things. And then they asked me about my entire academic qualification. And by that time, I had got 95.5% in the ICSE. I had got 93.6 in ISC. So I was like doing pretty well. And so they wanted to know, how did I study? What is my motivation? Those kind of questions. Then one kind of interesting thing happened. So I will never forget this because I was like, so like, what's happening? So there was one woman and one like man, and this uncle or like this professor who was asking me questions, the sir, he was like slightly older, but also a bit, how do I say this in the right way? He was a little bit like questioning and very non-believing. Like he would just like be like, suspicious. Like, I don't really believe you. So I don't know why he had that energy, but he did. And I really liked the female professor, the lady, because she was genuinely just like asking good questions and then had like sensible questions to ask back. But I just felt like he would, like, no matter what you said, he would just be like, I don't agree. I think that's wrong. I don't think so. You can do better than that. So I was like, okay, I don't know what's up with your attitude, but fine. Like, I'm going to try my best. So he was looking through some of my certificates and he saw, like, I used to play basketball when I was in school, and I played basketball up till the 8th or 9th standard, mainly because after that I had a knee injury, like I had a kneecap dislocation, and so I had to stop playing for some time. So by the time I went for this interview, it had been like a good 3-4 years since I had played, and I had kept away from basketball because I was playing basketball when I had this injury. So I felt that either the concrete flooring or something to do with the game is triggering this injury, so I need to like stay away from it. So I haven't played in a while. I don't remember all the rules, but obviously I did play it because I got injured from it, right? I was playing it so much in the 7th, 8th and 9th that I had an injury from playing it. So he asked me a bunch of questions about the game, and I think some rule or something that I didn't remember very clearly, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure. Like, I don't remember. And he was like, okay, tell me something. How many minutes does a basketball game last? And I said, really depends on which level you're playing at, because I had only played at the inter-house and inter-school level. Like, I hadn't played state for basketball. So I was like, I think it depends on how much, we need to play. So he was like, okay, what about like, can you play 90 minutes? Do you think they play 90-minute basketball games? And I remember being like, okay, I don't think that's a lot. Like, I don't think they play 90-minute basketball games. And I was like, I don't know. It depends. Like, if somewhere they do, then I don't know. Like, I was just by this time, it was like towards the end of my interview, I was getting a little irritated with his attitude. And I was just like, honestly, I don't know what you're asking me or even what you're trying to get at, right? Like, I got injured through this sport. What are you saying? And so he was like, what's wrong with you? How do you think somebody can play a 90-minute basketball game? They'll fall dead. They go up, down the court a couple of times. It's so tiring. And I was like, yeah, I know, because I used to play. And he's like, exactly. Then how do you think anybody can ever play a 90-minute game? I was like, yeah, probably not. And I said, I don't know. Like, I genuinely haven't played it in a long time. I don't think about basketball rules every day. I don't know. Sorry, my camera got cut off there. But I was going on a tangent and a little bit of a rant. But basically, after that, he was just, he was like, I don't think that you've actually played basketball. And at this point, I was like, so what? Like, and he's like, these days, everybody just gets like certificates from wherever and they just put it into their booklet. Like, and at that point, I really wanted to like bang the table and be like, what's wrong with you? Like, I've literally played this game. You can talk to my coaches. You can talk to my sirs. You can see the injury on my knee. Like, I did not, how, what are you saying? And so I remember getting really, really annoyed, and I had to really keep my cool then because I didn't know whether he was testing me to see, like, does she lose control or what does she do? So I just kept calm and I said, sir, I'm really sorry that you think that way, but I have clearly played the sport because I got an injury from it. And after that, I stayed away from the sport. So all the rules are not coming to my mind right now. And I don't remember every single detail about the game because it's been a long time since I played. And in fact, I actively stay away from it because it triggered my injury. So I'm really sorry, but that's not fair to say, and I don't think you have a right to say that. And I, gave it back assertively but politely. And then he was just, he said, I'm sorry, are you trying to say that I'm wrong? And I was like, yeah, like, so I said, yes, sir, because I did not, I genuinely played these games. I don't think it's fair for you to think that these are not real certificates. Like, I'm not, where will I produce them from? Like, these are all true. And at the same time, the female professor who was there watching this, even she was a little bit taken aback by what this professor was saying. And even she was like, I think she has played, she just doesn't remember it in this moment, right? Like, you can excuse someone for not remembering certain rules of certain sports that they haven't played in a couple of years. That doesn't, so I said, there are other games that I do play actively still, like badminton. I can tell you more about that. I can tell you more about the games that I genuinely do play right now too. And then he was just like, okay, fine, whatever. And then, they asked me like one more question and then let me go. So when I came out of the interview, I was like, I don't know how that went, because I don't know what that was. And I felt a little bit hurt and upset, I have to be honest, because it felt like my integrity was being questioned. And I don't like that, because there's nothing for me to do here. So I remember being very upset, and I thought maybe I should like complain about this or say something, because it's wrong. And if I forgot something in an interview or answered incorrectly, you can say that that was the wrong answer, but you can't question my integrity on something. And that really did not feel good to me. But I remember that had happened, and it stayed with me. After that, or again, I don't remember the order, but I went for my group discussion, the group interview, which thankfully was so much better, right? Because there they gave us like a leadership task, and they gave us something to do, and they said, come on, now you have to do this. And I just got into action, because taking the lead or taking charge or leadership comes quite naturally to me. So I just jumped right in and made it happen. And I said, yes, sure, we do this, we do that. I think my team won, and it went well, basically. And it was a task that was given to us, and we had to like solve it, display our leadership abilities, critical thinking, problem solving. So that went really well, and they really appreciated our efforts there. So I was happy about that. And within that itself, we had to have the group discussion, which again, I think if you speak, read, and write well, it goes pretty easily and smoothly. So that went fantastically. And after that, I think, again, I'm because it was a decade ago, I think there was a written component. There definitely was for the media school, but I think even for BBA, we had somewhat of a written, like an essay or a test or something along those lines, which again, that was fine. It's just like you go there and you write a little bit of, they'll give you a prompt, and then you write about that in more detail. So yeah, that's how it went. What I will say is the rest of the experience was very professional. The students were great, the teachers were great. We were very well escorted from room to room, from like every single part to the other. And I really had a great time and experience throughout. It was just that experience with one of the professors, which was a bit, I don't know what that was. But everything else was fantastic. And I really loved the campus too. So I thought, okay, this is perfect. And, I did the best I could. We came back home, and I think by June, you find out whether you've gotten or not. And I got in, and I was really happy, because I realized that clearly means they saw the value in me, and also they must have realized that I am being truthful, right? Like, why would I not be truthful? So that was that. But again, ultimately, the fact that I got in, I think your work speaks for itself. Everything works out in the end. So I did make it. And then here's the deal, right? I didn't take it. So I decided not to go to Symbiosis, because I had already gotten into HR college, which is in Mumbai, and it's Again, I wanted to stay in Mumbai because I had to pursue my yoga education and my teacher training and all of my different yoga teacher trainings at the same time as my undergrad. And so it made the most sense to stay back in Bombay. But I did apply, and I did consider it very seriously until I realized where my heart truly lies and where I definitely want to be. So I didn't end up going to Symbiosis, but I did get in, and I do have the acceptance letter and the whole experience of interviewing and seeing what it feels like to crack the interview and to make it. So I hope that all of you found this helpful. What I will say is definitely go through all your certificates, try to remember specifics of everything. If you can, then go into as much detail as possible, because you don't want that kind of situation to come up where you blank on something, you don't remember it. So go through all your certificates, go through all your prior experiences, go through everything you've done, and then remember it really well. And I would say also be yourself, because ultimately I think your personality, the way you carry yourself, will do the job. And be confident, because that's really what they're looking at, even in the group discussion. How you carry yourself and how you exude that confidence when you walk into a room is what matters the most. So I hope that this has been helpful, and if you are looking to go to Symbiosis for your BBA, I hope that you get in and you have a wonderful, wonderful time at Symbiosis. So all the best, and I look forward to sharing the next video, which is going to be on Symbiosis Media and Communication course, and I will share that in the next one. Thanks a ton for watching, and I'll see you soon.